leaving my sunflower patch again. Guess they were enjoying that. Have a mom and her two babies. My sunflower patch finally bloomed. Still got a little bit left from what the deer didn't eat. They are beautiful bee food, food for us, firewood, and flour from the roots. And chicken feed when I get my chickens. Hello, and welcome to Preparing to Survive and Thrive Homesteading Channel with Charlie B. Good morning. So I'm showing you my ingredients list. What do you think I'm going to make today? If you guessed it, salsa. Yes, indeedy. As you can see, I am not using everything that I grow, but I am using some of them. I have my tomatoes, mostly Romano. I am using some of my banana peppers and also my wide green ones, long green ones, I guess, and jalapenos. I am using store-bought garlic because I do not have enough out there growing and it didn't come back very good this year. I'm using some of my freeze-dried cilantro. Sorry, I couldn't remember what that was called. And I'm using store-bought onions, yellow and Vidalia. I do not have Vidalia growing in my garden and I want to wait, I'm being, I guess, selfish. I want to wait for my onions to get a lot bigger. And we have our distilled white vinegar and just plain and simple ground black pepper. So you have my ingredients list. I will give you the recipe later in this video. We'll be back shortly. Well, hello. So I showed you my ingredients list and I'm wearing red today. So I'm dealing with tomatoes. More than likely I will have them all over me. So why not just go with the color? I'm making salsa. I'm also going to add a little extra to it, and we are not going to just make plain salsa today. We are also going to do pineapple salsa. My daughter loves it, so I'm just going to take a can and I am going to add it to it and make it sweeter, tastier, a little different. I'm going to do two batches. I'm going to do one of regular salsa and one of the pineapple salsa. So I'm doubling the recipe, but I will give it to you in the single form whenever I go to give it to you later in this video. Be back soon. Okay, so I've got tomatoes in here, and what I've done is I've literally, let me get my knife, cut an X in here. I am going to pretty much steam the skins off of these tomatoes. So I'm putting those right in there. And it's in hot water. The water was boiling until I stuck the cold tomatoes in. Now when I start seeing them, the tomatoes, the skins start lifting from the tomato, I will pull them out. Because I don't want to really cook them. I just want to steam the skin off of them. Like that one. And this one's coming off too. So I'm just stirring them around a little bit so I can see what's happening with them. They are hot. You can literally pull the tomato peel off of them. See, this one's just starting to flop off right there. Pulls right off once they're kind of steamed. It's quite warm. Ooh, that one went flying. So just pull it straight off. Once they cool, you can probably take them in your hand and pull them off. So we'll be back when they cool in a few. Well, they're all done cooking and they are a little hot, but I can handle them. So I peeled off the skin and I'm cutting them in half. I am going to remove the core and the seeds. Then I'm just going to slice them. So they'll be about 1/2 inch chunks. Now, the tomato will break down more than the onions and the peppers and the garlic during the cooking process. So we want to cut them a little bit larger than what we would normally do with the other items. If you get some that's not quite wanting to come off, you can take a knife to them and just peel them. Just more or less pulls right off. Now remember, you don't want to leave these in the water too long or they will turn to mush, the tomatoes. So a minute on boiling water, and if it's not totally boiling and it cools off, maybe 2 minutes. If you use your Romano tomatoes, they are thicker. They're a paste tomato, and they will hold up a bit better in the cooking process. But if you don't have Romanos or a paste tomato, go ahead and use whatever tomatoes you do have on hand. And remember, even if you have to buy them at the store or at an auction because your tomatoes didn't turn out this year, or you just don't have room to plant a garden, you can still use them. It'll be just as good. You've made it with your time, your love, and your care. So it will work, and they will taste amazing. Also remember, if you do not get all the seeds out, that's all right, because let you know a little secret, the jalapeno peppers, the seeds were left in them. So they will cook down. A little seed never hurts anybody. So these were left in the water, like I said, between 1 minute and 2 minutes, and the water was not boiling. So they're pretty easy to get out. Show you a little example of if you leave them in the water a little bit too long, like if you get distracted and you walk away. I'll show you one. It kind of went to real mush soon, but that's all right. Some of them will go to mush, and I'll just add a little bit of extra, for a better word, soupiness. This was one that really got overcooked. Not as bad as some of them that I've seen, though. This one was a little green. So you can see they're a little bit more done on the inside, so it's harder to get the seeds and stuff out. I'll just scrape it a little bit. And what gets left in there gets left in there. But they'll still cut up nicely. going to finish getting these done up, and I will meet you back here when we actually start making the salsa. Everything is cut up. I have my tomatoes, I have my peppers, and I have my onions and garlic all in this one bin, and I am going to dump them in a water bath canner that I'm actually just using as a cooking pot. I need to add my cilantro, my vinegar, and salt and pepper. And I will do that once we are on the stove. So we'll be adding our cup of white vinegar and 4 tablespoons of cilantro. Now we might add more if it doesn't seem to have a strong enough taste, but we also must remember as this sits in the canning jars, the flavors will marry and they will get stronger. You have a half a teaspoon of black pepper and a teaspoon of, I use pink Himalayan salt. Woo. I'm going to bring you over here so you can see what it actually looks like all in there. Get this all mixed up. I'll be showing you as I go. I want to get my jars while this starts to just bring itself to a boil and cook down a little bit. Now, we are not adding the pineapple until the very end because I'm using this as a regular batch and also a pineapple batch. Well, my salsa is starting to cook down and it is boiling. So I'm going to be turning this down to simmer just to keep it hot for me to put it in the jars. Probably can't see it because of all the steam. Now our next item is for our pineapple salsa, the pineapple part. All I did was take the jar of sliced pineapples. I didn't have any crushed or cubed, chunked, whatever you want to call it. I literally just slid a knife down in between while it was still in the can and just slid this down like this and cut them. So now I've got chunked pineapple. I'm going to put these on a burner and get them hot. Juice and all. And we will start filling the jars. So I've got the stuff cooked down enough, a good boil, and it's also on simmer right now, so it's staying hot. The amount of liquid or contents is up to about this ring. So I'm going to use about half of it, maybe a little bit more for the regular salsa. And then whenever I start the pineapple salsa, I will add the pineapple to it and then use the rest of it. For my regular salsa, I am using the regular mouth jars. It's just going to separate them from the pineapple salsa. Give myself a stir here. I am using a measuring cup, not to measure, but this is just to help me dip it out. It is very, very chunky. Woo, I kind of did a little too much. So you get to witness my mistakes. And I'm going to show you them because everyone makes mistakes when they're canning. Just got that jar a little too full. That's really going to need wiped off. What I want to do is leave right to this room. It's about a 1/2 inch headspace in my quart jars. So let's fill that up the rest of the way. There we have it. I'm going to do 7 more and we'll move on to the pineapple salsa. I've got my jars filled, and what I'm going to do, remember, I'm going to clean off the rims with a paper towel that's been dipped in white vinegar, just to clean them off, to make sure there's nothing on them. And you saw how messy I was earlier. I'm also going to throw another little curveball at you. I'm using 2 different types of lids again. I'm using my ball. And remember, we want these guys finger tight. And I'm using my Tatler. The white part, put the ring around it. Sit this right here. And with this, put on the lid like this. I always retighten it. As you can see, the jar is spinning, even though my finger is on it. It's not too tight. I'm going to get the rest of these done up, and then back to the pineapple salsa.